You cannot avoid the fundamentals, which is really that, it seems clear to me that the US economy is recovering, right? Anywhere else, you'd probably say that, there could still be headwinds in Europe. And I'm pretty sure that China will print lower growth rate this year as well. So
how much lower?
We are looking at 6.5%, right? And that would probably put pressure on Asia currencies, and then you probably see more pressure on the euro as well. In this environment, how do you expect the dollar not to strengthen? I think that's a tough one. Now, in the face of strong dollar, how would the Fed react? I think that's a bigger question. I believe that a gradual increase in the dollar may not stop the Fed from hiking rates, up to 4 times in 2016.
Let's bring it back to China, and you alluded to this. Depreciation pressure remains on the Chinese yuan. Does it pose a competitive devaluation risk for currencies out here?
Well, there is, of course, the tendency for the rest of Asian central banks to prefer currency weakness, especially if a big economy like China is, seeing their currency weakening. So for me, I think the focus could actually shift away from oil-related, commodity-related currency that weakened last year, maybe towards the North Asian economies, where China leads to the downside. You get pressure on Taiwan dollar, pressure on the Korean won, for example. We dislike the Korean won. We like going long Japanese yen against Korean won as a trade for 2016. So those sort of trades, I think, could be interesting this year.
Let's stay with China. Additional policy support from the PBOC. Is it increasingly imminent, given the fact that the macro continues to disappoint? And perhaps more to the point, has it worked? Because there's been real questions about the transmission mechanism, right?
Absolutely. I think it's getting really tricky, simply because China has a lot of conflicting targets, right? On the one hand, they want to delever. They are trying to also, ease away the excess capacity, but at the same time targeting decent growth. How do you achieve all three things while the PBOC is also trying to liberalize the FX market? I think this is going to be a tricky year for China. And therefore, for me, there will still be a need for some stimulus, right? Both from the fiscal side and monetary side, but that may not be significant. And to that extent, therefore, growth will not pick up. And as a result, I think in the FX market, more pertinently, I think the currency will need to be part of the easing mechanism here. Monetary easing should also include currency weakness.
How soon do you think the PBOC could move?
Well, we have seen today, 130 billion being introduced in a 7-day repo. That is obviously a short-term money. But, I think there is also complication in the way how they could cut interest rate further, because there is already a liberalization of deposit rate and savings rate. So they need to work out a new interest rate mechanism. And therefore, I think the easiest immediate reaction would be currency weakness. I'm looking for 3.5% to 5% weakness this year in the CNY.